بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده، وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا كريم. Alhamdulillah, we're here in Medina now. Yesterday we were able to go to Al-Badr, and we've set up the stage over here right now for recordings and for classes and all sorts of things. And so just last night, one of the brothers was requesting that I speak for a few moments about the concept of how to gain knowledge from books, how to treat books, how to what exactly is it that books are used for, and how to not how to choose books, because we discussed that in the knowledge blueprint, but how to use these books and be able to make the most of them. So I said, inshallah ta'ala, what we'll do is we'll do it in a lecture, like 10-15 minutes or something like that, and discuss that in brief. So one of the things that when a person is looking at books and works of the ulama is the fact that this book has, if you look at the front of it, has an empty page, nearly. Okay, over here a few stamps and these kind of things. But it nearly has an empty page. And if you look at the back of it, it also has an empty page. Okay? So what the ulama, they do is, when they're reading a book, and this is what my shaykh likes to call al-qira'a al-muthmira, the fruitful methodology in reading. Now I don't know where he got this from, but it's very useful. He used to take, so we read several books like this. It takes a longer time to read in this manner, but at the end of the day, when you finish reading the text, you've acquired pretty much everything in the text that you really need from it. Now, some of you might have read thousands of pages. Some of you might have read 300 pages, 200 pages. So everybody has a different amount of pages and a different amount of readings that he's done in his life. صح? So when you look at that, you're probably going to go through, if you're reading a third book on Seerah, this Al-Ayyam al-Nadhara, which Ustad Ahmed is teaching over here. If you read books before already, then you might come across only 10 fa'idas in here, mathalan. Okay, for example, you might only come across 15 things in here. You might only come across 20 things in every chapter, mathalan. So what you do is you draw a chart, and I have a generic chart. If somebody wants it, I print it out and put it on the back of my books and on the front of my books. So you draw a chart with 3 columns. Okay, 1 for numbers, 2, which is supposed to be the largest. Okay, so you have a little one here, then you have a large one. Okay, and then you have another one that's a little small one. So this one, you call it fawaid. You call it points. So you can call it gems, as some people call them, or whatever you want to call them. You call them fawaid. Okay. So as for these fawaid, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It's quite a ringtone. طيب. As for these fawaid, what you're going to do is, with these fawaid, you're going to number them. So as you're reading them, you'll number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you'll write over here the title of the fa'idah. So for example, you come across date of birth of the Prophet ﷺ. As I was doing in a book I was reading about Seerah, date of birth of the Prophet ﷺ. He did it based on astronomical calculations, that he said that, okay, 9th has to be the date, can't be the 12th. 9th has to be the date, can't be the 12th. Mathalan, for example, whether it's correct or not, it's a benefit you benefited. Okay, it's something you benefited that based on this particular person, whatever his name is, he calculated astronomically, it's impossible for the Prophet ﷺ to be born on the 12th. It could be wrong. But it's something you benefited. So you put over here benefit, and you write that down. Okay? Then you write the page number. So this is how you do all the fawaid, or all the gems, or all the key points that you come across in the text that you're reading. Now if you turn around to the other side, you go over here, istishkalat. Well, that's how you do it in Arabic, but if you're reading an English book, you'd say some things, things that are difficult for you to understand. You can put it in any words that you'd like, things that are difficult for you to understand, some issues that you were unable to comprehend. So you write that over here, and same thing, you have one column over here for numbers, and another column for what? For page numbers. And in the middle you put anything that you think you've misunderstood, or anything that you're unsure of, so that when you come out of this book, there is no unsurety in your mind about anything in the text. Anything in the text. Now this is simple. It doesn't take very long. Well, the reason why I said it's going to take you very long to read a book like this is because we're coming to the third part of it. This, and I've done this with books, this is one of the most difficult tasks to do. Because when you get into reading a topic, you forget to do this. And that is that each paragraph that you read, on the side of the paragraph, you do a little title for the paragraph. A paragraph title. And has anyone ever read a book in one night, مثلا, or 2 nights, or 3 nights? Yes? You have? طيب, how much did you get out of it?
Very little.
Very little. Why? Because you read, and you read, and you read, and you weren't really focused on understanding. And you weren't really focused on letting that information sink into your brain. So whereas if you do it like this, where you have paragraph titles on the side, you have to look at each paragraph maybe twice for you to be able to summarize it in 3 words, so you can put it on the side. So when you read that, you put the benefits in the beginning, you put all the important points that you come across, all the gems in the beginning, you put all the difficult points in the back, and then you go ask someone about them, and you put a paragraph title for each paragraph. You come out and literally understood this book. Anything you have pertaining to this book, you've understood it now. That's one thing. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is if you're studying a certain text, for example, with an alim or a talib ilm, or people of knowledge in general, then there is a way prescribed by some of the ulama of Shinqit, and that is that what you do is you take that text. Okay, so we're reading over here Safinat al-Najah. This is a simple explanation of Safinat al-Najah, Nail al-Raja, مثلا. طيب, you take that text and you read the beginning of it, the actual text that you're going to be studying with the shaykh or the talib or whatever, with your teacher. The text that you're going to be reading to the teacher, let's say it's 10 lines. You read it yourself 5-10 times until you get a good understanding of this text. Until you get a good understanding and you're able to almost memorize the information in the text. Okay? That's why when I gave you these translations, I said read on before you come. Okay, so that's what you do. You read on before you come. So when you've understood and read on before you come, what happens is that makes you have certain questions that will arise in your brain. Okay, that will get you to ask some questions during the dars that are actually useful questions. Sometimes people ask questions and the next line has the answer. So a lot of times, even when we're in the class, to say, okay, just hold on, it's coming up. So why? Because of the fact that the person hasn't read on, and that's also proof for the teacher that the person hasn't read his dars on yet. So what you do is you read the lesson. After you're done reading the lesson, then you go and after you're done reading the lesson a few times, you go and read a simple explanation of it. A simple explanation of it. By yourself, in a quiet area, you go and read yourself a simple explanation in a park, in wherever you can find quiet time by yourself. And after you're done with that now, you go to the shaykh, you go to the ustad, you go study that text, and when you finish off with studying that text, that particular passage, then you go home and you sit by yourself again. Okay? During the dars, particularly, you were not taking any notes. Okay? This is only advised for people that are actually follow the entire process. If you're not going to follow the entire process, please take notes. Please take notes. Okay? For if you are going to follow the entire process, where you're going to read the text to yourself, then you're going to read a small explanation of it yourself, you're going to write down questions about it yourself as well, then and only then don't write notes during the class. Don't write notes during the class. You sit attentively through the hour and a half, 2 hours, however long your dars is. After you're done with the dars, attentively without taking notes, then you go home. Right after you finish the dars, you try to use your memory to remember everything the shaykh said, and you write it down. So you take your notes afterwards. This will help a person sharpen his memory as well. This will help a person sharpen their memory as well. So you take all of the things that the shaykh is saying or the ustad is saying, and you try your best to grasp it in the best of your abilities, and your ability will continue to grow if you do that. And then, thereafter, you go home right after, and you go and write down all the information. Why right after? One thing, you're going to forget. Secondly, the ulama, they say when you do a good deed, a major good deed, like a good, very good deed, then it's advisable for a person to follow that good deed up with also other good deeds. But those other good deeds don't have to be in the same stature as this first essential good deed you did. Example of that is when you pray salah, you pray sunnah afterwards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obligated a salah. After salah, what do? You go and pray your sunnah. So Allah doesn't want you to go from dhikr state, the state of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to this state of heedlessness right away. So you go and pray your salah, you do sunnah afterwards. You go and pray your salah, you do adhkar afterwards. Allahu Akbar, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Allahumma anta salam, wa minka salam, ila akhir. You know. So you do that, and that's the same reason why you're coming out of this state of seeking knowledge, this sacred state which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put all this reward for, and all of a sudden you go start joking around, laughing, blah blah blah, these kind of things. No, when you're coming out of a dars, the best thing is for you to go by yourself. And I practiced this in certain books that I read. After the dars, sit for 2-3 hours by yourself, reviewing your dars. The benefit of the dars will increase immensely. Increase immensely. You'll feel like you're actually now grasping the information. If it's just passive information, you hear it, you have an intellectual breeze or whatever you want to call it, and thereafter you leave it and you forget it, you're going to forget it. You're going to forget it. Basically, these are some of the things that I wanted to mention in terms of studying texts. And with that being said, I'll leave you guys with the seerah lesson. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.